Hi students, hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to study a poem named The Shed. Frank Flynn, as you can see in this image, he is the poet Francis Stanislaus, or better known by his pen name Frank Flynn. He was a Northern Territory Australian doctor. He was coming from the Northern Territory of Australia and he was a doctor. He was also an author and also a missionary priest. He is notable for his contributions to religion, medicine, and Aboriginal welfare. He has worked as an author and also a priest under his missionary, and he is famous for his works towards religion, medicine, and Aboriginal welfare. Aboriginal welfare means the welfare done to those people who were living in the real people who were living in Australia. He was born on 6 December 1906 and educated in Sydney. He received his MBBS with first class honors in 1930. In 1931, he sailed to England. From 1932, 33 to 34, he studied and worked at the Royal Ophthalmic Hospital in London. He was an eye doctor. He was an ophthalmic specialist. Okay. And the shed that we are dealing today is his famous poem. The shed. As you can see in this image, you will be able to see a rustic warehouse where we can call it as a shed. If you have a big house and where there is a farm, there will be a shed where we can keep those belongings that we use for plowing and all these things. And that small house where we keep that equipments are called as shed. So let us get into the chapter. First answer. There's a shed at the bottom of our garden with a spider's web hanging across the door. The hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. When I'm in bed, I lie and listen. I'll open that door one day. So the poet is describing about the shed. In his garden at the bottom end, there is a shed. And that shed is in a rustic way, where across the door of that shed there is spider's web always hanging. The hinges or the logs of that shed is always rusty and creak in the wind. Whenever a wind occurs there, that key creak sound will be originating or making there. When I am in bed, I lie and listen. Whenever the poet is in his bed, he will lie and listen what is occurring there. And he say that I will open that door one day. He will be opening that door and entering it one day. So the second stanza. There is a dusty old window around at the side with three cracked panes of glass. I often think there is someone staring at me. Each time that I pass, I will peep through that window one day. So he is describing that shed in a more better manner. In that shed, there is a dusty old window around at the side. At the side of that shed, there is a single dusty old window which is fully covered with dust. And the glass of that window is cracked and there is three panes of glass which is cracked. And whenever he goes by that way, he often thinks that there is someone staring at me. Whenever our poet goes by that side, he will be thinking that someone is looking at me. And still he says that I will peep through that window one day. He says that even though he feels like someone is looking at him through that window, but still he will look through that window one day. The third stanza. My brother says there is a ghost in the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards. And if I ever dare to set foot inside, he will jump out and chop off my head. But I will take a peek one day. So the poet is describing more about the shed, and one day his brother, our poet's brother, have said him that inside that shed there is a huge dangerous ghost, and that ghost is hiding under the floor, which is rotten and smell like really bad manner. And if I ever dare to set foot inside, and that brother is advising our poet, if you ever go inside that shed, he will jump out, he will come out and chop off your head, and he will kill you by cutting your head. But still, even after hearing all these things, our poet thinks that I will take a peek one day. Still, I will get into the shed one day. So, the final stanza. I know that there isn't really a ghost. My brother tell lies to keep the shed for his den. There isn't anyone staring or making strange noises. And the spider has gone from his web. Since I don't know when, I will go to that shed one day soon. So, in the final stanza, the poet affirms that there is no such thing called as a ghost. There is no ghost in the world. My brother tell lies to keep the shed for his den. Den means the place where the lion lives, but here the den means his own place to play. And the brother is not letting our poet play there or go there because he want to keep for his own benefit. And he says that there isn't anyone staring or making strange noises. Even though he feels like someone is staring at me, looking at me, and making loud noises inside, there is no such thing. And the spider has been gone from his web. Even if he fears the spider, that spider has gone away from his web. Since I don't know when, even though I don't know when, I will go to that shed one day soon. I don't know when I will go, but still I'm sure that I will go to that shed one day soon. There were plenty of stories regarding with ghosts and supernatural creatures until electricity arrived in the rural areas of our places. Like that way, the central theme or idea of the poem that we dealt is rationality. Rationality means the quality or state of being rational or agreeable to reason. You will only be believing things that have exact proof there or reason there. You will not believe things which are irrational or without evidence. The poet is advising us to be a rational being, and we should not believe in baseless and imaginative stories about ghosts and supernatural creatures. There will be plenty of people all around the world who speaks about, make stories about ghosts, supernatural creatures, and so on and so on. But all these stories are made by people for their own benefit. You should not believe that because they are using you as a tool for their own benefit. I do believe that you people enjoy and realize the exact essence of the chapter. If you confront any sort of doubt, please feel free to ask. And thank you for watching.